Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Rise of the Feminine podcast. I'm Rugmani Kaur, your host. The podcast is going to go a little bit different from now rather than sharing what I've been sharing so far. I've been guided to share my journey of my Kundalini awakening process and the awakening of my throat chakra, which is kind of scary. I'm not going to lie. This is why the video is also on. You can probably see my face like, oh gosh, this is okay. This is something new. But this is how it wants to express itself. So I'm just going to go for it because truly, I've been listening to my intuition for so long, and it's led me to where I am right now in my life, in my journey. And so, why not? Why not? If I'm just a little freaked out, I'm just going to be a little bit freaked out for a little bit. Just want to make sure. Okay, good. The mic is good. Okay, so my throat, it's been opening up a lot actually, and it's very scary, very challenging. So challenging. And my head goes into the space of like, when do I really have to depend on people? Because I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Let me just give you a little background, okay? So you can understand a little bit of what I'm saying. So first of all, this is going to be like so raw. I'm not gonna cut anything of this video because it's meant to be seen as how it comes through, and you're meant to see me as who I am in this space, and this is the process that my throat chakra wants to go through. So I'm just allowing it to express itself in whichever way it wants to. Okay. Whew, okay. So in being going through the opening up of my chakra for a long time, not just the Kundalini awakening just boosted it up like a lot. And in 2019, when I was living in Cusco, that's when I felt the energy moving from the throat upwards into the upper chakras, which was probably one of the most challenging times to surrender, because I felt that there was this boa, like this really big serpent just passing to my throat, and I felt that I was choking and that I couldn't breathe. But at the same time, it was the very first time that I felt such a deep connection with my physical body and understanding that I'm not my physical body, because I was hearing it talk to me, just saying, surrender, let me do this. But imagine, surrendering when you feel like a really big snake is passing through your throat and you can't breathe. It's like, yo, like this is this is a little bit more than just surrender, okay? Like a super deep trust. It's not that I didn't trust, but it's just a lot. Okay. It was just a lot with the trance, with everything cracking and everything moving around. It was just like little by little, but okay, it passed through. It was a very challenging night that I didn't know. Honestly, part of me thought I was going to die or choke or something, but the other big part of me that fully trusted this process said like, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Fast forward today, and well, a couple months ago, it's been opening up a little bit more, and I've been very scared of sharing it in public, even though that's really what it wants to, and I don't understand why yet. But because of being seen differently again, and because I never learned, honestly, to talk about these really deep emotions. And so I had been conditioned since a very young age that you keep very things in. And even when I expressed some things when I was younger, it wasn't really received as I imagined how I wanted it to receive. So it made me shut it down. So through this process, I've been learning to opening up more spaces in me that is normally kept with myself and with people that I fully trust, that It's not a lot of people, to be honest. I can count in my hand, or probably a little bit more in both hands, how many people I actually shared this with, because it's something very raw and very deep and very personal. So when I felt this message coming through, and then my system saying like, we're meant to be sharing this with a video, with a video, not just a voice, I was like, okay. Okay, I guess I can try to do that, and I'm just gonna let it. And see, this is what my neck does and has been doing for a bit now. My body started cracking in 2018 when I was living in Thailand. And it just not just cracking, doing these kinds of things to move the energy. And I'm used to that. The cracking has become very intense since last year. But it will go through waves, because the left side of my heart was opening up even more through the throat and everything. The right side already happened. And now I'm on the left. What I feel is kind of like the last. Maybe this is the reason why it's like the big push of like really putting this video up and talking about this stuff. But it's been very challenging to sleep, because I get woken up by my body that adjusts itself. I get like from my torso, mostly like below my breast upwards, and it just cracks and adjusts and try to go back to bed, but it continues to do that throughout the night. And so far, every day that I wake up is like a big, massive crack fest and adjusting. That again, I'm used to that. But then it's getting deeper. It's getting deeper into my throat chakra. It's getting deeper into my emotions. It's getting deeper into sharing some things that I've just kept hidden for so long, and not knowing how to express those things, because I never learned again. And I never really thought it was necessary until now that my throat is like, yo, we have to do it, okay? And this is not just for us, meaning my own process, but for other people to open up the space within them to do so. So, whew. Now, the challenging things that have been for me is really opening up my emotional body for people to hear. I'm doing therapy with one of my dear friends who lives in Cusco. We met when I lived there. She's a psychotherapist, amazing, amazing soul. And I'm so grateful that I have her as part of my journey to heal and understand, and opening up the space of this part of me to speak, because I pushed it away. What I'm talking about is the depression I went through at the end of 2011 till like 2013. And so, which I didn't really know, that I didn't acknowledge it. But it makes sense, you know? I mean, I was going to like 2 therapists and all these kinds of things, taking medication, but I will just share in a way what I thought the therapist wanted to hear, so I can get out of there, because I didn't want to talk about those things and I didn't know how again. And so a couple of weeks ago, I just had this moment that there was so much going on in my system, and I was just like, I don't know what's happening, and I need help. So I literally stood right here in my room, and I was looking towards, I have this I don't want to call it painting, but this thing right here on my wall that has so many mantras and circles that I bought in the Himalayas when I went there to do a teacher training. And I stood there with all the vibrations of all the mantras around my room and all the deities around my room. And I said, God, I surrender. I said, I know you're hearing me. I know you can listen to me. And I surrender. Show me that which I can't see right now, because I don't know what to do. I went to my altar and I bowed, and I was like, please guide me. Please guide me. And there was this moment of surrender that I felt so much energy just coming down at me, and seeing my life, and then seeing the part of me that is healing, which is my emotional body. seeing it so raw and so open and just speaking so loudly, many things at the same time, not really knowing what in the world it was saying, and just hearing like, you need to heal your physical body. I mean, your emotional body. It just wants to talk. It wants to come through. And of course, it made sense that like throughout my awakening process and my life, I've been healing my mind. I've been healing, of course, my energetic bodies and then my physical body. And of course, it would be the last one to pop up to the surface, because in a way I had to train into sit with my things, with my emotions, my physical body, with all my traumas in order to open up the space of my emotional body to be like, let's do this. And I realized I needed help, which let me tell you, that realization hit me hard because I'm not accustomed to say I need help. I'm not accustomed to say I can't do this by myself, because I've been doing everything by myself for almost my entire life. Of course, there's many things that throughout my life I did with some people, right? Like when I was depressed, my ex-husband was helping me through that and was holding space for me. But then after that, I don't like to be dependent on people. And that's something that I kind of learned as a kid, like, okay, you depend on your parents, right? But then after that, like, I didn't depend on them, and I had my life since I was like 17 on. And even though my parents would help me at times, it wasn't like I was depending on them. And it was like, holy smokes, okay, I need help. And I can't do this alone. And it hit me so hard, let me tell you, that this was the night before doing the Earth Day retreat last month, which I think it was the 20th of March or 22nd. So there was also this wave of like so many messages coming through, and one of the messages said, let him take care of you, meaning my boyfriend. Okay, let me tell you that hearing that message, it was like, no, yes, okay, but I don't know how. I don't know how. I don't know how, because I like to do my things, like again, I don't like to depend on people. I don't like feeling useless. I love what I do, and it's just like, you gotta take a break. Like, what do you mean I gotta take a break? Because I love this, and this really inspires me more. This really puts me back into the space of being me. And as I'm watching people transform themselves, as I'm helping them through their awakening process, it's so fulfilling. What do you mean I gotta take a break? I don't want to take a break. But then, like, really seeing how my emotional body is like, we can't handle this. We gotta take care of this, so then we can do something bigger. I was like, okay, gosh. Okay. So during one of the breaks that I had during the Earth Red retreat, I talked to my boyfriend, and it wasn't a very, it was so scared to say those things, to first of all saying, I need help. I can't do this alone. Emotionally, I'm kind of fucked up, and I'm learning how to open up about those things. I'm learning to heal this that I've never learned in my life before. And the doggy that we've been searching for, it's for me. This emotional support dog, this therapy dog, is not just for the business. It's actually for me, because I need it. I don't like saying I need things. I really don't. I like to say, it's meant to be me, it's meant to be for me, or whatever it is. I like this is my preference. But saying I need this, I don't like to say those things, So when I was talking to him, I was completely covering my head and crying. And it's just like, and just going like, oh, this is so hard to say. This is so hard to say. And here goes my head again, or my neck again, cracking. And so, yeah, but how magical life works, the moment I surrender, the moment I said I needed help, the moment I talked to my boyfriend and said, like, gosh, I wish I could talk to Linda, which is my psychotherapist friend, the one that is leading me to these therapy sessions, again. But I knew she needed a break before, so I don't want to push that into her. The next day, she messages me and she says like, hey, let's go back into doing your session. So I was like, oh my gosh, thank you, because I so needed it right now. So opening up this space has been very challenging, and it really just takes my head into the space of like, how much longer do I need to quote unquote depend on people? How much longer do I need to do this with others? When will I be able to do this by myself again? Because this is also the challenge that came with all of this, that I'm so good at sitting with myself. I'm so good at pinpointing what it is and where it comes from and letting it pass through me and just be done with it. And I feel better. And then, go and doing something else. And I, at this moment, I feel like I can't. And this is another word I don't like to say, but like, when I'm like tuning into my emotional body, like everything is speaking so loudly, everything is shouting, like I can't really pinpoint like one little thing on one part, because everything is just speaking so fast and so in like together that I don't know how to tune in into that by myself, which is such a struggle again, because this is what I do as a living, this is what I have been doing with myself for so many years. What do you mean I can't do this? What do you mean? It just doesn't make sense with my mind. But then my heart is like, of course we need guidance, We've never done this by ourselves. We've never gone into that space of those emotions of the depression and deal with that, because it's so much. And then when I'm trying to go into that space, I'm just like, I have all this anxiety coming through, and I just, and I'm just like shaky. I have to hold something like that unicorn, like this one, that unicorn right there, like holding it with me, because she had been with me during the depression, and just rocking back and forth like a child, and just don't even know like how to deal with all these emotions that normally I'm very good at doing. And so it's been such a humbling experience to surrender to it, to say, I need a break for me, and not just for me, but for also the people that I'll be guiding in the future, because this is such a massive process that I have to go through. And again, I can't do this alone. But the beautiful thing is that, like, of course, I'm certain that it came back. I don't want to say it came back, but that I've given a second chance to release the depression in a healthy manner rather than killing myself, because that's what happened in the past. I didn't know how to deal with all these emotions, and there were so much, and I will numb myself with painkillers and muscle relaxers until I will pass out. Tried to commit suicide, and then I found weed, and I will completely just smoke so much to the point that I will pass out, because I figure out it will do that to you. and then I will get distracted with my puppy. So it's been very difficult, to be honest. It's been so difficult to just like do this with others, and know that I need something, that I can't just do it by myself. And even, oh my goodness, and even the energetic realms, where I dive into so deeply every time that something like this happens, something similar happens, are pushing me to trust something in the physical realm and let go of them. I'm like, you've been my support all along. What do you mean? What do you mean I can't rely on you any longer? I mean, not fully, but like, what do you mean? Like, I can't do this with you? Because I need to learn to trust others physically. I need to learn to trust people. And it doesn't mean that I don't trust people. I really trust the people that are around me and that have been guiding me through all this. I really do. Like, I love people. It's just that I've also been learning to be skeptical, which I don't like, but there's also people that harm you, whether they're doing it on purpose or not. And so learning to trust people, learning to speak and share my emotions with people I truly trust and love and know they love me, has been also very challenging. And it's scary. It's scary. I was given this exercise to do on myself, because what is happening is there is this massive wall in me, in between this current consciousness and a younger version of myself, when I was having all these massive awakenings in Thailand in 2018, when I was trusting, full trusting, bam, 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 bam. And then surrendering, everything will come like magic. You know, it doesn't mean that it's not coming like magic, but back then it was just, that was the norm in me. It would just happen. It would just happen. And I'll be like, okay, cool. Where are you going then tomorrow? I don't know. It will just show up, and it will just show up. And so like there's this wall between me and her. And it's not that like I have to go back into the space, but she's kind of like this fairy that will lead me into a bigger part of myself, because I feel so much magic coming through, but I have to go through this first before I'm able to tune into that. And that's scary. That's so scary. And I was actually very nervous to put the camera on and talk. I feel actually very comfortable to say all these things, which means that it really is just my throat, like being free, speaking my truth, you know, because I was like, people are going to think I'm so weird, even weirder than before, and all these things that come up from childhood, and it's going to be out there. I don't know, you know, but so part of the exercise that I was given was to like draw this wall that I just explained, to draw this wall and just let it express itself as it wants to be expressed, and just play around with it to be able to enter that space in a more easier way. So it's not so tight and tense. And when I was drawing that wall, it was so dark. It was so dark, and it felt like part of me is just tangled in this darkness. It doesn't know how to get out, and it's just saying, please help me, please help me. And you know, while I was drawing these things, because I just let it flow, I was like having fun, you know, oh, this is cool, whatever, I'm drawing, I'm painting. And then when I took a step back, when I was done, I was like, oh my God, this is so dark. And I didn't realize how dark it was. This is so freaking dark. Okay, take a breather. It's okay, breathe, you're safe, it's okay. And then I just felt my throat just pulsating so much, and I wanted to speak and I wanted to say some things, and I'm just like, I don't know what you want to say, man. And I was like getting anxious, and oh, it was so difficult. I was messaging my boyfriend, and I was like, I don't know. I'm like, part of me is freaking out, part of me like feels that he wants puppy, you know, like I call her puppy, she's 8 years old, but like, you know, my puppy that was with me during the depression. And it's like, is it me? Do I really want her? Do I really want that company? Or is just like that part of me that wanted to push everything aside and wanted some kind of distraction, because she was such a massive distraction, all of that. Because I learned to put me aside to take care of her, because she was a puppy, you know. And it's like the other part of me wants to like say some things to my ex-husband, and because I didn't express that need of help back then, even though I wanted it, but I didn't know how. And then I just not myself. So it was just this massive thing, and my head was going in all these directions, that I was getting a massive headache, and I was hyperventilating, and I was like, oh God. And he said, oh gosh, I love my boyfriend, because he said to me, get out of your stubborn Peruvian ass and talk to people that actually care. And I said, okay. Even though it was literally like this, and crying, you know, crying. I was like, okay. Gosh, I feel this massive thing in my throat just moving. Thank you for watching and listening, by the way. This helps us all, not just me. And so I said, okay, you know, I took some deep breaths, and I grabbed the phone, and I dial like my ex-husband's number, and he's like, hey, what's up? And I was like, said, are you busy? And then he's like, no. So I said, okay, let me just explain some things. And I just started like crying, you know. And I just said, I'm going through this process of healing my emotional body and healing the depression, and all these things are coming up, and I don't know how to deal with it. And having help, I'm doing therapy, but also like I feel that the parallel me, the other version of me, is going through that, and she wants to express some things to you, and it's very difficult for her. So I feel that I have to do it for her, to help her, because one part of this process is that I felt so many of my other selves, you want to call it, in other parallel universe, etc., just saying we're holding space for her. She's going through that right now, and you're the closest to her. So that's the reason why you feel it so deeply. So I was explaining that to him, which I was like, this might sound weird, but he knows I'm a little out there. So thank God for that. And yeah, and so I was just saying all those things to him and crying and hyperventilating. And I was like, oh God, this is so difficult, and taking deep breaths to all of it. And yeah, I just said like I didn't know how to express this back then. And so I'm just letting it move right now. Letting it move right now, which was so difficult. You don't understand how difficult it was, because he has a girlfriend, like I have a boyfriend. And I don't want to create tension between them, because I know like now our connection is different than it was before. At the same time, I don't want to create tension with me and my boyfriend, but luckily we have this really open communication that I tell him these things, because I was telling him that before I called my ex. And yeah, so it's just explaining, crying, saying how difficult it was, and I was like, taking deep breaths and like, oh gosh, this is so hard. This is so hard, and he was like, do you feel better? I said, yeah. Yeah, I feel better. And then talking about Puppy, how she's doing, our babies, our two doggies, and just kind of laughing about it. But it was so hard to say. And then afterwards I went to talking to my boyfriend, and goodness, this is very emotional, as you can tell. And just having again that wave of, this is so hard. And I wish I could do it by myself, because I don't like to put people in awkward situations, and I don't like it when people worry about me. And it's not that people need to worry about me, it's not like I'm fully back in the space of being suicidal, because I'm not. I know that I'm just releasing all of this, but just thinking about through every thought that came through my head is so hard, because again, I didn't know how to deal with that. So it's just like, and so I was doing this video chat, video call, is how you call it, with my boyfriend. I was just crying and just being like, one step at a time. I remember back then that I had to learn to live second by second. And so this is another reminder of just being present with everything that is, not going to the future thinking or feeling like eventually it'll be done. Like I know eventually it'll be done. Eventually the throat would express itself. Eventually the emotional body will be healed and happy and whatever, balance. But like right now, that's not the case. And right now I'm doing everything that I know I can with all the tools that I have acquired for the past years to do this in a very healthy manner. But still, it's not easy. It's very overwhelming where all these emotions come through, like, and I miss me. I miss that silly girl. I miss the girl that could just like be doing a bunch of things at the same time in a way and be so happy and be joyful. And now it's kind of like flat. It's like I do have moments where I'm happy and I'm laughing, but like most of the moments that I'm going through right now, it's just like I just want to be alone in my room, which is not healthy either. And yes, I get out of the house, but like numbness, you know, emotional numbness, which is exactly what I went through back then. And on top of that, I numb myself even more, you know, and I'm not doing that right now, obviously. Like I know better, you know, but like it's good that I have like Kundalini yoga that I do every day. That is the foundation for my day. It's good that I have people that I can talk to right now, not just like my therapist, but like of course my boyfriend, and opening up more to other people about this, which again is so challenging. You know, my parents know a little bit of what's going on, but like I haven't really expressed that fully to them, because I know how difficult it was for them when I was suicidal. And again, it's not like I'm like that, you know. I know that I'm just in a process, a very deep process and raw of releasing that. And they might not understand it, you know, but I understand it. My boyfriend understands it, because this is what we do in a way. And this is again cracking and my vertebra adjusting. This is what happens when I speak my truth. This is what happens every day, honestly, every day, this cracking. And I do it, I let it, you know, around anyone, because it's my process and I'm not gonna hide it. And this is why this is happening. The video, the talking on the mic, to share with all of you what is happening with me. And again, this is not a space for you to feel sorry for me. I'm beyond grateful that I am in the space that I am right now. And I'm learning to understand my emotional body, and I'm learning to let my throat open up even more, because it wants to, and I'm not going to stop it. And I feel that also the reason why I'm putting this out there is for you as well, whether you're going to a similar process or whether you will get there and then kind of understand these things. And it's not, even though it's scary at times, but let me tell you, it's scary because of the space I come from. It's scary because of the depression that I went through. It's not scary itself because of the process. That is what brings me so much joy, knowing that I'm going through that. And when I will pass this stage, I will be much lighter and I will be more me. So the reason why it's scary again is because of all the emotions that I didn't know how to deal with since a young age, and whatever I carry from other lifetimes in my lineage. It's not scary because of the process itself. For the process itself, I'm literally in awe. Like, wow, this is fantastic. This is beyond amazing. And I'm grateful that I can go through this and feel everything that it moves through me, and connect deeper to other versions of myself, and listen to my third eye, and be able to see my emotional body and how raw it is and how hurt it is, you know. Like, I'm grateful for all of that. And I'm grateful for all the people in my life that are able to like sit with me and listen to me, and the ones that I will open up about this, you know. So there's nothing to feel sorry for at all, you know. Just grateful that you're here with me, and then we can be in this space of sharing. Here comes more cracking. And grateful that you actually tune in and are here with me, you know, not just in this space of sharing, but just in this existence, So yeah. Thank you again. This is really helpful, and I understand now why my throat is like, we gotta say this in video too. I'm like, okay, I understand that now. And it actually is making me feel better too about just expressing rather than keep it in, because again, that was my condition of keeping everything in. Like, nobody needs to know this. But people need to know this because this is part of the awakening process. And this is part of my job. This is part of what I do, helping people through their own awakening. So how would you, in a way, how would you trust me if you don't know anything about my story? You know, you don't know anything about my journey. So I get it. Here it is. You know, this is my journey. This is my journey right now. You know, the throat, which is beyond challenging for me in comparison to the other chakras that opened up and healed. This is the most challenging point in my awakening process so far. But yeah, okay, good. Well, thank you for tuning in. For sure, you know, leave some comments if you wish. Let's still be in this space. If you're going through something similar, it'd be nice to read too, you know, that you're going through something similar. Because again, it's not me going through this only. Come on, there's so many humans out there. So I'm sure a lot of us are going through this, and maybe we don't even know that we're going through that. So, okay. I love you all. Thank you so much. Sending you so many blessings. And I'll see you next time. Ciao, peace.